Turboprops are not luxurious. Jet aircraft are expensive. Turboprops can be STOL aircraft. Jet aircrafts are faster. And on and on and on until your head begins to spin. Well, today we'll try to put an end to the confusion and prove why turboprops are not as bad as you might have been led to believe. Don't swipe or click away, because here is why turboprops dominates light jets. Many business people think that chartering a turboprop plane is like riding a stolen car. There's this false belief that turboprops are the technology of the past, and the only way to head towards the future is by always flying in jet-propelled aircraft. But what if we told you that this is not the smartest idea? You see, turboprops have stayed with us for a reason. Now, we're not suggesting they introduce a turboprop engine on a Boeing 747 airliner. That would also be a silly suggestion. No, what we're suggesting is making an informed decision when flying. People just assume that they don't fall under the typical private jet aircraft, but this is false. Because the turboprops are powered by a turbine engine, they are considered private jets. Unlike jet aircraft, which rely on exhaust from the jets to propel the plane forward, turboprops rely on the gas turbine to drive a propeller and create thrust at the front of the plane. Many people tend to go for jet-powered aircraft, regardless of the trip, even though it's been proven that turboprops are even more cost-efficient on short flights rather than a jet aircraft. Here's the deal. Every turboprop that comes out of the manufacturing plant has one major benefit over any light jet aircraft. That advantage is simple. The turboprop has a special design that is very efficient at low altitudes and lower speeds. For example, if you need to go from NYC to London, then getting a jet aircraft is a no-brainer. But if you have a 450-mile trip from NYC to Columbus, Ohio, then chartering a turboprop jet might be the smarter thing to do. The fact that they burn less fuel compared to the other types of light jets makes it possible for the turboprops to have a lower hourly cost for every flight hour. In other words, if you have a same-day round trip from NYC to Columbus, getting a turboprop is a no-brainer. The same goes for people who are wondering what type of plane to buy. If most of your trips are short and within less than 500 nautical miles, then buying a turboprop is going to be better. But if you have many long-distance flights during the year, then getting a jet aircraft is smarter. Speaking of short journeys, you won't be surprised to hear that many turboprop aircraft have near-perfect takeoff and landing capabilities. Most of the light jet turboprop planes require a runway of only 3,000 feet. Now, compare that with the 5,000 feet required to land a jet aircraft, and you can clearly see who is the winner. Of course, this means that the turboprop will be able to smash that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, it will be able to land on runways that aren't as spacious. All of those smaller regional airports are no longer off limits to turboprops. All of a sudden, the airports that are hardest to reach become accessible once again. But what about speed? Are turboprops faster than jet aircraft? Generally speaking, no. This means that when you compare a turboprop and a jet aircraft, most of the time, the jet aircraft will be the faster model. However, this is not always the case. For example, the Piaggio Avanti Evo, a turboprop, has a max speed of 400 knots, which makes it faster than the flagship jet aircraft we all know as the Cessna Citation Mustang. And this is probably the only area where the light jet aircraft have light jet turboprops beat. And even this is not always the case, as we've seen with the Avanti Evo. So let's move on to the fourth objection, the luxury. Somehow, many people think that because it's a turboprop aircraft, it's not going to be as luxurious on the inside as the jet aircraft. This is simply not the case. Nowadays, many of the turboprops are just as comfortable and luxurious on the inside as some of the best light jets in the world. There's also the belief that the propeller on the nose of the plane will make the flight unnecessarily noisy. But because of the good insulation, you will barely hear a thing inside the turboprop. For example, if they were to give you two photographs from the insides of a light jet aircraft and a turboprop, you would not be able to tell the difference between the two. The turboprops are just as safe and just as comfortable as the other aircraft. Speaking of these other aircraft, we have to admit that jet aircraft have another big advantage over turboprops. That's the distance. We talked about it earlier, but it's true. If you want to travel a long distance over 1,000 miles, then getting a jet aircraft might be the smarter idea. However, many plane enthusiasts don't have to fly to and from Europe every month. This is why we would still recommend getting a turboprop or chartering one for those short distance trips. For long distance flights, you still might want to omit the light jet aircraft. Although they will get the job done, this puts tremendous strain on the aircraft, and that's why you'll be better off chartering a medium jet aircraft. It'll not only be better suited for the journey, but it'll also provide additional space and comfort on board the flight. Also, it's been pointed out to us that these mid-sized aircraft are better suited to travel through turbulence compared to light jet aircraft. Okay, we've pretty much established that turboprops are the better choice when it comes to short distance flights. Some assume that you can save around $200 for every flight hour inside a turboprop compared to jet aircraft. If you fly the plane for about 400 hours annually, then you're looking at a bill that'll be over $50,000 higher for the jet aircraft. So you can either get a brand new car with that money, or you can fly a plane with no STOL and slightly higher speed in some of the cases. But what are some of the best turboprops out there on the market today? This is the Daher TBM 900. It's a plane that can seat 6 people, including 2 of the flight crew. This turboprop has an empty weight of 2.1 tons and a max takeoff weight of around 3.3 tons. The plane is 35 feet long and has a wingspan that's 41 feet. Inside the fuel tank, the max capacity is 290 gallons. The price of such an aircraft stands at around $3.7 million. Everything is powered by a Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6A66D engine. The maximum speed of the aircraft is 380 miles per hour. The plane has a range of 2,000 miles and a service ceiling of over 31,000 feet. The runway that this bad boy needs to take off is 2,400 feet, and the landing strip is only slightly longer, with 2,450 feet. The Pilatus PC-12 NGX was announced in 2019 at the NBAA. The price of one aircraft was estimated to be $4.39 million. However, that price ballooned to $5.443 million. Was it worth it? Well, the plane was developed from the PC-12 NGX. The older plane was scrapped and the new one was equipped with a new full authority digital engine control. It has a speed of 290 knots or 540 kph. The Honeywell avionics have been updated, and they were not coming with a cursor control device and touchscreen displays. Inside the cabin, the passengers will sit in new seats. They will look out through the windows that are 10% larger than the previous model. Before hitting the market, the PC-12 NGX had to undergo 600 flight hours. It has a range of 1,800 nautical miles or 3,300 kilometers, and inside the cockpit, there can be 10 passengers plus 1 pilot. On a related note, do you think jets have a better design than turboprops? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.